I mean, a child, and I am sitting here with a wonderful actress, writer, director, Leanne Melissa Bishop. Please help me in welcoming her to the show. Welcome, Leanne.
Hi everyone.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here with us today. Now, I always like to start off my interviews with having our guests tell our viewers a little bit about themselves, where they come from, things of that nature. Where are you from?
I'm from Nova Scotia, Canada, so on the east coast of Canada, and I went to school in New York. I went to the neighborhood playhouse, and eventually I found myself writing and making a lot of my own work, creating, and so I found my way to LA, and I just fell in love with it here, and it's been over 10 years. I'm not going back, so
That's it. This is your new home now. And you know what?
exactly.
That's the way it is now, right? For most
I
performers, like you
know.
kind of have to create your own opportunities,
That's right.
right? And so, speaking of that, I'd love to get a little bit more into your background in New York. But first, I always want to know, like, what pushed you into a career of acting and writing and directing?
It's an interesting story because I was actually, I did it a little later in life. It was always like a joy, but I grew up in a really small town. So it wasn't something that like everybody did, if that makes any
That makes
sense.
a lot of sense.
So I was an accountant.
Really?
Yeah, and I always had this, love and passion. And then I went through a big life change. Not necessarily, it was a little traumatic, and it pushed me though to think outside of the box and do something that I always loved. So I went back to school in New York to theater school, the neighborhood playhouse for acting, and I just fell in love with it. What was supposed to be 6 weeks as a summer intern turned out to going back and doing a full-time 2-year conservatory.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm so grateful for it. And in school, they also taught us, like, hey, it's good to be writing and creating your own work and being the one to uplift your career. And so that is, I think, what catapulted me. That, and also having a business background is what made me be like, hey, I can create my own work. I can make this happen. I don't have to be dependent on other people for making my career happen.
Or waiting for that call that you
Yeah,
got the
I
job,
know.
or they want you on a call back.
No thanks.
Right. I'll just create my own opportunity. So you said that you did some time, school's like during time, right?
Yeah,
At the neighborhood playhouse.
kind of is.
Did you do any theater work when you were in New York City?
I did. I love theater.
Yeah.
I wish it paid more, but I do love it so much. I did a really great off Broadway Mr. Pym Passes By, which is the author of Winnie the Pooh. I did a lot of really great theater there, and I feel like that is actually what made me a better actress.
Okay, of
Is
course.
being on stage every night, you start to notice, hey, like, how can I make this better? What can I do differently? Just from the sheer practice of being on stage and doing things repeatedly.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the best actors have their start on stage.
And you get that automatic feedback from the audience. If you get nothing, you're like, okay, well, maybe I didn't, maybe there's something that needs to be tweaked. Maybe there's something that's not landing right.
Right. And it teaches you to be more disciplined as far as like not having takes.
Exactly.
It's like, this is it. It's live, just like this interview. So
I know.
it's really interesting. Now, I noticed that we have a lot of people in common. So you did The Way to Perfection.
I did.
We actually spoke with Annabelle Monroe about 2 weeks ago. We interviewed her. And I saw Kelly Perrine was in The Way to Perfection.
They're both my dear friends.
Yeah. Me and Kelly have done work together and we go way back. So that's really interesting. Tell me about this film, because I know this is a personal project for you. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, very personal. I did grow up doing gymnastics. I competed at a national level in Canada, and unfortunately, I did end up having an eating disorder. And it was something that took me a long time to come out to the world about, and it was something that I always felt shameful about, and I really had a hard time telling people publicly. And I felt like it was something I had to do to help others that are going through this. A lot of people, especially in Los Angeles, think of an eating disorder as a vanity disease. I want to look nicer, I want to look better, when really you have a lot of demons inside. It always comes from something else. So I wanted to tell this story so that people could see that it's more than that it's not just about wanting to look better, it's wanting to heal, needing to heal from the inside. And gymnastics is a very important part of my life. And it was lovely. At another film festival, I had an opportunity to meet this wonderful woman, Jennifer Olaf, who then introduced me to Annabelle, and they were both eating disorder survivors. And it was not like I went out to try and find them. And they were both involved in the film industry. So I thought, let's all do something together. Let's make something, let's make some art that will help heal others and also uplift people, that there is an option, that there is a way to heal from this.
And also kind of heal yourself in the process. I'm sure it was
Totally.
very therapeutic. So, with that being said, I wanted to back up a little bit. Being a gymnast, is that something that's pretty common in that world? Eating disorders?
It is. Unfortunately, it is all too common. I feel like today, yes, it still is common, but I do feel like it's in the media more. And if you look a lot of the gymnasts at, the Olympics now and the collegiate level, that you do see a lot of different body shapes and sizes, but it is something that is still very much an issue.
And I have a question, excuse me, it might be a little personal, hopefully it's not, but the coach that you played in the film, was that based off of someone in your life, or was that just completely?
It was based off some different experiences
Okay.
that I had. Not one person in particular, but based off some different experiences.
Okay, she was a piece of work.
I know.
But then we find out her backstory, and it's like,
you get it. And
hurt
we
people
learn
hurt
from,
people.
exactly, and all of our behavior in life generally is coming from something that's happened to us.
Yep, very true. So yeah, no, that's a really powerful movie, guys, and if you guys would like to, you can stream it on Prime Video, on their Shorts channel, and I highly recommend that. So,
Yeah,
and I also
thank
like
you.
that you put, it's a very multicultural film. That
Yes,
you've got
it
the
is.
black dad and the mixed girl at the center of it, and I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah, because I also feel like different ethnicities, people go through different things, and they have different stressors in their life, and they have different expectations, and so I wanted to show that as well.
Yeah, and I think that you did a wonderful job. So congratulations
Thank you.
on that film. It's really awesome. And now, I saw a clip of In Search of. Is that you playing both characters?
No.
Okay. Have you ever gotten that question before?
No, I haven't. So, basically, I play the distraught mother, and then there's another character that's the detective.
Okay. I thought.
But
Like,
you
is
might
this
have seen
both
a,
her?
you might have seen a clip where I am in the bathroom mirror taking pills, and I do look different than I do in the interrogation room. So.
Yeah, I'm like, I wonder if she's playing both characters. That's pretty powerful. Okay. And I know that you've done a lot of short films, and that you're getting into doing some more, you know, feature length type stuff. Is there anything you have coming up that you want to discuss or tell us about?
Well, I'm very excited to say I have a film that I wrote a few years ago called What If, that's in pre-production now, and we've attached this amazing cast. We've attached Leah Thompson
Ooh.
and Kevin Pollak. So a lot of people out there know those actors. Also Aaron Ashmore from Canada as well is attached. And we have the amazing director, Lindsay McKay. Her last 2 feature films premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. So we are very lucky to have her.
Well, this is a big deal. Leah Thompson.
It's a huge
Leah
deal.
Thompson.
Everybody knows Leah Thompson.
Absolutely.
And I'm just very fortunate and blessed to be working with these people. We're shooting it in Manitoba, Canada.
Nice.
And
Let's go home.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's on the opposite coast, but that's okay. And we're shooting it. We're planning to shoot it late summer. We're 65% financed. So if any of you out there know of someone that wants to help hook us up with the remainder of the financing, look me up.
That's awesome. And so, can you tell us anything about the story, or?
I can. It's a little bit based on some feelings that I had. I mean, as a writer, everything always comes from something personal. I feel like those are the strongest stories. But it's based on a woman that finds out in her 40s that she's a byproduct of a birth mix-up. So she was born into the wrong family and discovers it later in life. So she goes through this experience of, oh my goodness, I lived my whole life in this one family that wasn't really my family. And what does that really mean? What is my identity? Even though the story is about a birth mix-up, it's more about someone that's trying to find their place in life, almost like a coming-of-age story for someone that probably should have come of age.
Right.
And it's about family and the bonds, and is it blood or is it something more? Like, is your family is it your friend? Is it someone down the street? Is it your blood family? And it's what it means to you. And for myself growing up, I wouldn't say I was like necessarily a black sheep in the family, but I was the middle child, and I was the only one that was ever interested in the arts, which is probably why I went into it a little later in life. So I always felt like I didn't fit in. And I think that's a lot of what this movie is. This character always felt like she didn't fit in and always wondered if this was her real family, and then to discover that they weren't.
Wow. And so what is it being tagged as? Is drama, comedy, dramedy?
It's a drama. It's a quirky drama, a little bit in the vein of The Farewell or My Old Ass, if you know of any of those films.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's going to be very interesting. Our director, Lindsay McKay, she does a lot of character study, and so she's very great at looking at the character and how they are evolving and showing kind of like their introspective.
I love that. And I love that. I love stories that center middle-aged people. I wrote a film about a woman that's turning 100.
Oh, that's amazing.
People love it because I mean, there's so much ageism.
I agree.
You know, so I love that you're centering, you know, someone like you said who should have came of age.
I think that's a big thing in Hollywood. I mean, I'm a member of Women in Film, which is, you know, it advocates for women, any ethnicity and different ages. And I feel like that's a huge thing. Like if you're not in your 20s, hey, I still have stories I want to tell. And I think that there's a great audience for them. So
absolutely. I always say, you know, in entertainment, we need people of all ages, races, shapes, sizes, you know, to tell stories.
Totally.
So that's awesome. And now, speaking of that, because it sounds like this is like your dream project that's getting off the ground.
It is, yeah.
But I always like to ask more cerebral questions, like what would be your dream collaboration? Is that what we're looking at now, or is it something even bigger than what you're working on?
I do have a few projects that are bigger. I mean, I have another feature I wrote called Cleopatra's Needle. It's a ghost story. It's centered around London's Cleopatra's Needle, so it's based on historic events. And my dream collaboration for that would, like, it's, you know, at least a $50 million film. So, you know, I want to play in the big leagues. I want, it's a female driven story, and I really want that to be in the forefront and, you know, to deal with women's issues.
So your dream collaboration isn't necessarily a person, it's an amount of money for your film.
Well, I guess.
I've never had that as an answer, and that's amazing.
But I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you have to dream big. And so Cleopatra's Needle in London, what is that, a city? Is that?
No, it's actually like an obelisk. So it's extremely tall, like it's 224 tons. It was a gift from Egypt to London back in the 1800s.
I feel like I should know about this.
Well, to be honest, I didn't know about it until I started researching. I love ancient history and I wanted to write an artifact. So I was researching and I had this dream about this faceless woman, and I was like, oh, I have to write about this. And I loved history, so I was trying to combine them. And the more research I did, I learned about Cleopatra's Needle. It's a crazy story. It was a gift from Egypt to London back in the 1800s, traveled over treacherous seas. 6 of the sailors lost their lives, and it's haunted. And it also has a time capsule buried underneath it with extremely weird objects.
Huh.
And this is true. So my story isn't necessarily, you know, the journey of it arriving in London, but it's a fictional story, but it is based on the facts of the true ghost hauntings around this object.
What time period is this set in?
It's present day, but there are timelines that go back to the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
So that's like the really big budget film.
Yeah. Sounds like it, because it sounds like you're going to be doing
Like,
something.
I need to partner with a big studio.
Yeah.
Hello out there.
Well, you know what? Probably after this film that comes out.
I think so.
What if, right? Oh my goodness, this sounds totally amazing. Congratulations on that. What's up next for you? You've got What If coming out. I saw on your IMDb that you have 3 upcoming projects.
I'm also going to do my directorial debut for a feature film. I've directed lots of shorts, but I haven't directed a feature yet, and it's called Strength.
Ooh.
And it's about a woman that she's in her menopause age, and she's just lost her husband and her unborn baby in a car accident. And this is like 10 years later, and she's trying to pick up the pieces and live her life. And then unexpectedly, she meets a young girl who's biracial in her teens, that she meets her running outside, and the two connect over running. And she goes back to her days of being a college track star. And through this running relationship, she starts to bond with the young girl who's also had just lost her mother. And the two of them connect, and it's not even just that they're dealing with loss, but they find a way to see light and healing, and that there's more out in the universe that can perhaps uplift us all. And I love it because it deals with so many things that people don't want to deal with in films. And it's a lower budget film that I'm going to direct.
What did you write this?
I did write it.
Girl, you got some good stories.
I know.
I'm so glad to be sitting here with you. I mean, I want to watch everything that you described. That you have
Well,
going
and
on.
you as well. You're a prolific writer, director.
Well, I mean, I love that you're saying that, and I appreciate that. But I'm just like, I mean, I don't know. You have a great way of pitching your stories as well.
Thank you.
How have you found the process of navigating Hollywood on the other side of the camera, as far as directing and producing?
I found it's really helped my career. I initially started producing when I first met Kelly Preen, our common amazing friend. I pitched to him this idea of a short, and I actually met him at a film festival in New York. So that's how amazing film festivals are. You never know who you're going to meet.
You never know.
And so we met, and when I was coming to LA, we're like, oh, we should do this, we should do that. And well, I did follow through on my promise, and we made it happen. And so we've created a bunch of shorts together. But I think through the process of working with him, it became easier for me. And, you know, he helped mentor me and helped make me realize that, hey, I don't have to wait for Hollywood to call.
He's so great about that. He's so great about that. He's so supportive. He did my Christmas project. I didn't even think that he would do it. And I was doing a stroke. We had a bunch of paperwork we had to get around. It was a micro budget short. And he did that for me. And so, yeah, you need those people in your life that will give you that push.
You totally do.
You said something that could go over a lot of people's heads, which is you followed through.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we people and, you know, it's very Hollywood or, you know, very industry. And oh, we should do this and we should do that. And there's follow through and there's no follow up.
You're right.
But, you know, following through, I see, has done you a great deal.
And I think that's one of the reasons we connected, because, you know, he'll have the same conversation with people, but then they don't necessarily do the work. And so we connected, I think, because I have a really good work ethic, and so does he. And you know, sometimes I wish perhaps I started in the industry before I became an accountant, like when I was younger, but I do believe that starting in business gave me the work ethic to be able to create and have my own business.
And I'm sure being good with numbers comes in handy when you're budgeting and doing things like that, right?
It does. It's not the funnest part.
No, it's not. But it's very necessary.
Yes, it is.
Especially when you have to present pitch decks and budgets to people.
Yes,
So I'm sure you hit that out of the park. So with the casting for your film that you're directing, are you involved with that at all?
Some of it I am. My producer, Michael Mason, who I think you guys are all going to meet shortly, he's actually the one that's been dealing with the casting. But most of my short films I have been involved with the casting for. I kind of really like to, when I'm doing a film, like dig my teeth in everywhere. I don't want to just be the writer or just be the producer. I love all of film, and I think that's what's so powerful is that we have the opportunity to do all of these things.
Perfect, yeah. And just having your hands in everything, I'm sure,
it's exciting.
makes it come out the way you see it in your mind, I'm sure.
It doesn't mean I'm a control freak, but I love it.
I mean, well, in this business, somewhat, you kind of have to be.
Mm-hmm.
You take your hand off of it, and then you see the finished product, and you're like, this is not what I was gunning for.
And
so.
we're going to work together.
Immediately.
Good.
Tomorrow. No, whenever you reach out. Thank you so much for joining us, Leanne. It's been amazing. Please let our viewers know where they can find you on social media, on the internet.
Thank you guys for listening. You can find me on Insta at Leanne M. Bishop, and you can find me on Facebook, Leanne Melissa Bishop. That's my handle, Leanne Melissa Bishop, Leanne, Melissa, Melissa, and then Bishop, Bishop.
Traditional spelling.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for watching this interview. I know my voice has been a roller coaster ride for you all, but we appreciate you guys for sticking with us, and thank you to our wonderful guest, Leanne. Again, we'll see you. We have more interviews coming up, so stay put.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wow, that was so fun.
I know.
You're so good.
No, you're a great interviewing.
I don't know. I was like, no, I love your questions, and it was really